My name is Paul, and I was born in 1963, so that makes me the same age as Doctor Who. I was born in Great Yarmouth, Norfolk, and I went to secondary school there in the 1970s, where I was continually bullied and called queer. I moved to London, hoping to find more freedom in my life as a gay man. I was in my first year at Teacher Training College when Section 28 was introduced in 1988. When Section 28 arrived, it felt like it was a time for me to go back into the closet. This was not what I was expecting and was a great disappointment. My first teaching job was in 1991 in a school in a West London Labour-controlled borough, which protected sexual orientation in the work contract. 4 years later, I moved to work in a church school in Surrey, where sexuality was not covered as a protected characteristic, so you could be fired just for being gay. Before I started the new job, I decided that I would not be out in school as this was way too risky. I had trained as an early years teacher. Later in my career, I taught older students, 10-year-olds, and it was then that I noticed the word gay being used as a term of abuse. Insults such as "those trainers are so gay" or "stop behaving so gay" were thrown around by the kids. I never felt comfortable or indeed safe challenging students when they spoke like this. Thankfully, our head teacher did challenge students, but after all, he was the head, and heterosexual, and married, and had 2 daughters, so it was safe for him to take the stand. From time to time, students would talk about characters in soap operas or celebrities being lesbian or gay. This was a topic that I would quickly shut down for fear of being seen as promoting homosexuality in the school. Anything to do with being lesbian or gay was airbrushed out of teaching. I was always very careful not to mention my partner to the staff and students. As far as they were concerned, I lived alone with my 2 cats. I think at the time I accepted that this was normal and how it had to be. It was a sacrifice you made for being a teacher. Looking back, I'm really sad that I couldn't be a positive role model for the LGBT+ students who were undoubtedly in the school, but were also hiding their true selves. And I'm angry that I was forced to deny the existence of my partner. We've been together for nearly 33 years, but thanks to Section 28, students were prevented from knowing that gay and lesbian people can form long-term stable relationships. I'm not convinced that even today the LGBT+ community is visible and protected from both physical and verbal bullying in all of our schools. Section 28 has cast a long shadow over education, and I believe it is still the cause of confusion over what can and cannot be taught in relationship lessons. Schools often feel it's better not to mention LGBT+ issues, rather than address them and fear the consequences in terms of complaints from parents and interference from the right-wing press, who delight in stirring up the situation just as they did in the 1980s. It's so important that we remember that the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. We need to make the Don't Say Gay documentary to bring into the open the terrible story of Section 28 and to raise awareness of the damage it did in the past, so nothing similar should ever be allowed to happen again.